Welcome back to the third edition of the mailbag. Today we've got a question from Skylar Ray Hild, and they ask, what is the best way to compile ideas when you're DMing for the first time? Now, personally, I was all over the place when I started DMing. I had notebooks, random Google Docs, random other docs, tried a lot of online campaign note collection devices, and ultimately I found myself moving to Obsidian. Obsidian is a note taking app, and it's very bare bones. So you have just kind of a plain sheet of paper. You essentially just have a blank canvas and you start writing your notes in there. One of the unique features of Obsidian is that you can use Markdown in there, so that's pretty nice. And when you do, you can link documents together. So as you're writing your outline of just say your general story, you can say, oh, this is going to include Saul Blart, the mall cop. And when you do that and you tag it appropriately, it creates another document for you. From there, you can actually see a graph of how everything is intertwined, and those two features alone really make Obsidian a great tool for me. It's also just a good way to stay organized. There's directories and folders and all that, but you could also get the same effect with Google Drive. The connection of everything is the real thing for me with Obsidian. We'll do a longer video on Obsidian because I think it's a really great tool for DMs of any experience level. But for now, know that Obsidian is one of the key apps that I use. It is free, there is an online sync version, or you can sync to Google Drive for free. When you're initially getting your ideas together, just random word dump into one of these Obsidian docs. It doesn't have to be super well thought out or collected, but you can collect links, you can toss them in there. It's really just your scratch pad of, okay, I have this group of ideas, let's put them into a page and see where they go. Once you have a bit more of the story and a bit more of the understanding of where you want the campaign or that session to go, you can always toss it into Whimsical. Whimsical is another tool that I love for DMing. It helps me collect all my ideas and put them together in sort of a flow chart. So there's flow charts, mind maps, different ways that you can connect all of your ideas again. I've even used it as a timeline. Currently, I'm running a campaign in Ghost of Saltmarsh, and in that campaign, the party is away from the town for a while. Now, the town is a living and breathing thing, and so I need to know what's going on in the town at that time, even if the party isn't aware of it. So what I've done in Whimsical is I've created a big old outline, and I can just easily add little squares in a timeline and say, okay, on 21 Eliant, this thing happened in town. And so by the time they get back, if it's been a week or two, I can collect all that information that I myself have generated and put it into a cohesive doc, essentially. Long story short, those are the two tools that I use. I use Obsidian, I use Whimsical, and I think it's a really helpful way for anybody who is starting off DMing to not have just the overload of, I don't know how to organize things. It's okay. Both grow with you over time. You can get both more organized as you go. And that's the key thing to me, is don't put too much stress or pressure on yourself of, I have to get it right immediately. You can always go back and readjust. Start small and go from there. Now, if you want something that is online, you could use World Anvil, the Goblin's Notebook, Scrivener, Chronica, or Campaign Logger. Again, each of those kind of has its own overhead, and so for me, I would much prefer something with very little overhead, very little learning curve, and just get into the actual writing of my campaign or my session. I did find out recently, because you did a video on this, Sly Flourish also uses Obsidian, and so that's a mark for me of like, all right, well, Sly Flourish, he knows what he's doing. The Lazy Dungeon Master's Guide. So give Obsidian a shot, check it out, and let me know what you think. Until next time, feel free to toss questions down below. I love doing these mailbags because it makes me think about my process and how I've done things in the past as a DM or as a player, or how Trent has done things as a player. So toss those in the comments, and until next time, roll high, stay ridiculous, and thanks for watching.